As an Army officer during the Vietnam War, it was a sure bet that I would get a tour in Vietnam. And sure enough, I received orders to the 9th Medical Laboratory at Long Beach. It was early in December 1969 when I received the orders, with a departure date in March 1970. It was a Thursday, and we were scheduled to visit the orphanage. There had been some concern because there had been some Vietcong action last night in the vicinity of the orphanage. I got up early and began to gather my blood utilization data so I could communicate it to our headquarters in Hawaii. I had no way of knowing that the day was going to change my life. The trips to the orphanage were a different approach to winning the minds and hearts. This is a different group of people. Most of them were nurses or female medics, although a few males did go, mostly for security. Lieutenant Helen Holden was the nurse in charge of this particular visit. Although I was senior in rank to her, I deferred to her because of her experience in these visits. She briefed me on the way.
Most of these children have lost one or both of their parents. Some of their parents are still alive, but are seriously wounded and in the hospital with no way to take care of their children. So, they've been sent to the orphanage with the hope that someday they can get back together as a family.
As we passed through the gates of the orphanage, she continued.
Don't be surprised by anything you see or hear. Remember, these kids have been traumatized to a far greater extent than you or I could possibly imagine.
Two nuns were waiting for us to help us take the things we brought into the kitchen. I was immediately aware of the lack of laughter and playfulness. The children seem to be playing, but there's no real laughter. I look around and I see children of all ages, from infants to teenagers, and I'm confused. What do I do now?
Just walk around and find someone to talk with and play with.
I walk around the yard and then into a room that appears to be a nursery. Sitting in a crib, all alone, playing with her doll, is a sweet little girl. I am immediately drawn to her. She's cautious and shy. A nun tells me that she's lost both of her parents, is about 2 years old, and her name is Ming. My heart goes out to her, and I know I will visit here again. I went to visit Ming as many times as I could during the rest of my trip. Finally, toward the end, she began to loosen up and smile. Then one day I heard a sound that was greater than laughter to my ears. She laughed. She broke out of her shell. I like to think it was because of me and the love I'd shared with her, and who knows, perhaps it was. But the important thing was she laughed. Finally, the day came. I knew it would be the last time I would look into that sweet face and those loving dark eyes. It would be the last time that I held her, helped her eat or washed her face and hands. It was all I could do to keep from crying as we drove out of the compound and headed for our gate. But then as now, when I do think of Ming, it is to wonder what kind of woman she became. I still miss her. Dear Ming, I was cleaning up some old paperwork this morning and found a picture of you and me at the Cameron Orphanage in 1970. The memories of my many visits to the orphanage to be with you and to comfort you came cascading back. I wrote a poem, trying to express my thoughts about you and the many others at the orphanage. I call it Orphans of War. The innocent children of a terrible war are a sight and sound sent from God. as you look at their faces, they are still full of hope and love. They cling to your arms as you hold them. The look in their eyes is not what you see. What you see and what you hear is, love me. They are so shattered by war that they forget how to play. Yet even with this, as you look on each face, you can see God at work in this wonderful place. You hold them, you rock them, you watch as they sleep. You pray you can ensure their safekeeping. You bathe them, you clothe them, you feed them a meal, hoping against hope that some happiness they esteem. Yet when it is all over and done, you look and you see their loving expression saying, "Please, Lord."